All right, now something that's kind of cool that I kind of found by mistake was a development that's going on. It's not really a development. It's kind of like a food pod. Now, I could be wrong about the name, but in Portland they call them food pods, and it's basically where you have a bunch of food trucks and whatnot that are in a particular location, and you can go up and you can order whatever you want, and you can even many times sit there and eat it while you're at that particular location. We've done it before when we were in Portland, and I've always thought this would be the best thing that could happen in Tacoma. Of course, Tacoma has a lot of issues that it never really addressed, and it doesn't really know how to address today. Some of those issues are outdoor bars. So, case in point, if you wanted to put a business down that has liquor, beer, all of that, and you don't have a fence or a railing around your outdoor seating, you can't do that. Now in Seattle, you can. Down here, you can't. So the McMenamins wanted to use the Spanish Steps, and the Spanish Steps does have a stairwell and all of that, but there's no railings that can enclose that little space in from the public. So you can technically not be going to McMenamins, walk up the steps and walk right through this area and keep going. So the city wants it to be where if you are drinking alcohol, that the establishment has your patrons separate from the general public, right? So there has to be a railing. It just can't be a line or a marking on the ground. Well, McMenamins is in the city is trying to change that because it's a very old, archaic law, and so they're making progress on that. But it actually has halted a lot of different projects from happening because they have to put railing in. You have to make sure that the sidewalk is wide enough to have it. You have to put in variances and permits, and there's a whole list of things that you have to do. That they have to make sure that the footings are correct, the height is correct. There's so many different things in terms of the railing. There's so much added extra expense just to have outdoor seating, especially when it involves alcohol. So they're trying to fix that. Same thing with rooftop bars. For some reason, even though on top of a roof of a building, Tacoma does not allow that to happen. McMenamins again wanted to do that. Brewery Blocks wants to do that. There's another developer that wants to actually have a rooftop bar. Even though that occurs in Seattle, doesn't happen down here because Tacoma doesn't really have laws addressing it. So technically it's not allowed. So, or they have laws out banning it, right? Keep in mind, Tacoma is changing drastically, like leapfrogging fast, and it's addressing things it never had to deal with. So one of the big issues is food trucks. Now you can technically find food trucks at various different farmers markets throughout the city. Not a problem. And even when there's no farmers markets, you can find food trucks. But one of the things that is unique is the whole pod. And I don't think they call them pods here. We don't really know what to call them yet. But what do you do when you have a bunch of a parking lot, if you will, of food trucks that are there for people to just walk up and eat? Well, we finally took something from Portland, which is actually something that I think Portland does very well at, and that is the outdoor food market scene. It's really, really cool. I think it's the most convenient thing. I mean, I think it also supports a lot of small business owners because a lot of times brick and mortar stores are expensive. And so when you have a food truck, which is expensive too, it's really great that you can just pull up to a location, park, and people can pick and choose where they want to eat. Sometimes people are trying to get back to work quickly, so they don't want to go into some place and sit down and have to wait. They want to just be fast service, go up, get their food, and leave. And so when we have farmers markets here, if you go to the Broadway Farmers Market downtown, you'll notice that it is jam packed with people, especially the food truck area. Loads and loads and loads and loads of people because we are starving for that. Well, we took a page actually from Portland, and we actually have our first food truck pod, whatever you want to call it, here, and it's called Chow Town. And I'll put a link down in the description box for their Facebook page. So this group, basically these two ladies said, why can't we do this? Now the city has tried, And they've tried to use Tolfason Plaza downtown, but they ran into a bathroom issue. What do you do? Because there's so many codes the health department has and the city has and all this stuff. So what do you do? So they ran into that issue, so that was out. They've tried it again at different locations and it didn't work. However, typically, and this is not a knock at any sort of government official, but typically government does a bad job when it comes to running a business or trying to orchestrate business or trying to cut down on expenses. They don't do a good job at it, right? Business owners do a much better job of actually curtailing expenses and knowing how to make things work like that. So these two individuals, these two ladies, basically secured a site next to the Tacoma Community College, so it's down south. And you're going to see a lot of food trucks where they can actually just park in a particular area. You're able to walk up to those food trucks and you're able to eat. So it's pretty cool. So the city didn't quite know how to handle that, right? They didn't know how to regulate it. Do they regulate it like it's a regular food truck or a food stall? Not really, because they're not serving any food personally. They're just providing the space itself. And so the food trucks have to go through that whole permit process, which are several permits. They have to go through a whole laundry list of things from the health department, a laundry list from the city, the fire department. There's a lot of stuff that you have to do when you have an eatery, right? So these ladies figured like, hey, the only thing we have to provide is a bathroom space for the vendors that are there that has hot and cold water and a sink, and that's pretty much it, right? Because the food trucks pretty much have everything else. And so that's what they did. Now we have our first food pod, which is south of the city. Now, where do I think we should have one next? Downtown. Downtown by far would be probably one of the best places to have something like this because you have a huge population of people that have proven that this would work. Now, how the city failed on this, I don't know. But I think that if you have the right people in place, this could definitely happen. So you're starting to see things change and happen here in Tacoma that are new. We beat Seattle. They don't have a food pod trucky thing. They have a lot of food trucks, but they don't have a pod thing. So we now finally have one called Chow Town. Again, I'll put it down in the description box. I'm going to go check it out, see what it's about. Hopefully they can expand and go into different areas, not only just on the far south side. But anyhow, let me know what you think. What do you think about this? How we actually now have something that we took from Portland and made it our own. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Put some comments down in the comment section below. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.